Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Miss Evi Fitri Aglina as the teacher of Introduction to Literature lecture, and also all of my lovely friends that watching this video. Here I am Rofikatul Wardia as the moderator of this presentation. We are from the first group and we are going to present the material about the problem and the characteristic of nonfiction. And for the first material will be delivered by Nabila Hussein.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nabila Hussein. I'm the first speaker, and I wanna explain about the definition of nonfiction. Well, nonfiction refers to literature based on a fact. Must include real-life situation, include factual information, and usually has purpose to express or to inform. Nonfiction is factual or even that actually occurs in daily life. That means that everything contained in nonfiction books is still in still in life. Nonfiction essay are grouped into two types. The first one is pure nonfiction, and the second one is creative nonfiction. Well, what is pure nonfiction? Pure nonfiction is development essay based on defined data. For example, is a thesis, scientific work, a paper, report, and etc. And the next is creative nonfiction. Creative nonfiction based on certain data obtained. Then it's developed based on imagination, poetry, and novel. Well, that's all of my material, and will continue by my friend is Kiki Setianingsih.
I, Kiki Stanisi, as the second speaker, I will continue the material from Nabila as the first speaker, so I will explain about characteristic of nonfiction. Okay, there are several important characteristics of all nonfiction. Most important nonfiction writing must be involve people, place, and real event. The stories told in nonfiction must be true. If something in the story is fake, so it is included in fiction. And nonfiction must also be certain fact, namely information that can be proven to be true. If the author purpose is to express, the concept expressed are always based on actual real life situation. Therefore, one can argue that all nonfiction function is to inform the reader.
Okay, thanks. My name is Reza Pahlavi, and here I would love to continue the material, and I will try to explain the material about the characteristic of non-fiction book. Basically, we have five characteristics. So let's begin with the first characteristic. The first characteristic is using a formal language. In this characteristic is the most prominent aspect. In writing of non-fiction books are delivered by formal language, even though there are some non-fiction books such as motivation and reference book still using casual language, but in writing they're still using rule writing of AED in bahasa. And the second character is the nature of the word use denotative. The denotative words means the words contain the real meaning. The information present the full meaning to the point and not contain an ambiguity word. And the purpose of using denotative word is to provide information or motivation or inspiration to the writer. And the third characteristic is based on fact. When we try to write some non-fiction essay, we have to put factual data. Because what? Because with the factual data, with the factual data is expected to provide the information to the rider, and also rider directly get some benefit from read that essay. So the fourth characteristic is writing in the form of popular scientific writer. This means like when we write some non-fiction book, we have to write with the format scientific, with the most popular format scientific writer in this era, because we can use a format scientific writer that popular in 10 years ago, because now is that format is hard to understand, and probably that format is not exist anymore. So the last characteristic is the findings writer are have to read with new findings or development of existing findings. That means like when we write some findings, we must write the latest findings or development of existing findings. So that's all for me. The material will continue by my partner. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Rafika Tulardia as the first speaker. I will continue the material from Reza Pahlavi as the third speaker. Here, I will explain the material about the types of nonfiction. There are two types of nonfiction. The first one is literary nonfiction, which include nonfiction writing that reads like fiction. This literary nonfiction have the same element with fiction, like character, plot, and setting. But in nonfiction, the element must be real, not just an imaginary. The literary nonfiction include biographies, autobiographies, and essay. For the second type of nonfiction is informative nonfiction. The purpose of the informative nonfiction is to explain or to inform a concept or situation, like article and interview.
Hello, my name is Luciana Agustin Pratidi as L5 speaker, and now I will continue the material that Rafika Tulwardia as a first speaker explained before. And the material is what are mistakes non-fiction author makes. Okay, the first mistake is failing to identify your why. The biggest mistakes first time non-fiction authors make is in failing to identify why they want to write the book. This is an foundational issue that affects every step in the writing and production process. The second mistake is failing to identify the reader. The author cannot write a good non-fiction book without first identifying who your reader is. The author will think this book will be everyone and everywhere. This mistake that most newbie non-fiction authors make. More specific author can be as identify your reader. The better you will be able to focus the content you were creating. And the third mistake is not understanding story structure. Some people, first-time non-fiction authors, seem to think non-fiction doesn't require story structure, because authors think non-fiction is exactly like fiction in that they both involve storytelling. The author need make structure for the non-fiction, because there are different types of story structure, but the most basic is the three-part structure characterized by the beginning, middle, and the end. And the next mistake is writing what you want to say instead of what the reader needs to know. As an author, you have a duty to yourself as well as your reader. In order to write, the reader needs to know, you need to have first identify your why and your reader to know. And the five mistake is not using the dialogue. Many first-time non-fiction authors make the mistakenly believe that there is no phrase in their non-fiction for dialogue because they don't have first-hand knowledge of how the conversation can actually won. Actually, the dialogue helps the reader experience your story. Dialogue can unfold future in the wake of your nonfiction. Okay, the next mistake is the author not choosing a style guide or being consistent with formatting. A style guide or manual of style is a set of principles to help the author to produce consistent writing. There are any two levels of style guide. The first is style sheet and the second is style manual. The first is style sheet. Style sheet ini seperti daftar spesifik yang dibuat oleh seorang penulis untuk naskah yang sedang dia kerjakan. Dan the second style is style manual. Style manual ini seperti versi yang lebih rinci lagi dari style sheet tadi. Yang biasanya style ini digunakan oleh penerbit-penerbit tradisional. Okay, how do author choose the style guide is right for their book? The way is it's back to the reader identification step again. The author must identify the reader. The second mistake is about the publishing without the hearing an editor. The other mistake doesn't involve the editor to review the manuscript, but author prefer to choose the family or their friends to review the manuscript, whereas the review from the editor will be better and can improve the quality of the book, because the editor not only edits the wrong writing but helps to focusing the tone, structure, on the occurrence about the manuscript. Okay, the next mistake is writing for anyone and everyone. As a writer, the most important person in your work life is your readers, because the reader is the people who pick up your book, buy it, and read it. If you don't know exactly who your reader is, then you are really writing for no one. And the ninth mistake is not hooking the audience right at the start. Your non-fiction book needs to grab your reader on page 1. So, where are you starting your book? And does your opening assure your reader they are reading right the book? The author must think this. Okay, the 10th mistake is the author must telling, not showing. So, not to tell. This is essential in creative nonfiction and any writing. If you want your book to reach your audience on a personal level, you have to appeal to their personal side by using examples like anecdote and imagery that help them see the benefit of your information in their minds. Okay, the 11th mistake is the writing isn't good enough. Passive verbs, word sentences, cliches, and other mistakes that author make. And the next mistake is not maintaining forward momentum. As an author, you need to be conscious of this possibility and write your book in a way that keeps your readers hooked to the end. And the 13th mistake is lack of a consistent compelling voice. As an author, you need to be conscious of your voice on the page. You want it to connect with the reader and help them to trust you. It has to be authentic and consistent. Okay, the last mistake is not getting book writing help. The author don't finish the writing their book because some problem like they don't know how to organize all their idea or how to make it all fit or to make the book a great read. Then it probably wouldn't hurt to get help. Okay, that's all about my explain the material about the mistake the author. The next material will continue by the Lita Cynthia Bella.
Okay, I'm Lita Cynthia Bella as a sixth speaker or the last speaker. I will continue the materials from Lucy as the fifth speaker. So I will explain about how to write nonfiction text. So in here that we have 5 steps that we must follow to make the nonfiction text. For the first is determine them. Before making nonfiction writing, we must determine the them. Them is the title of the writing to be made. And for the second is formulate objective. Formulating goals is one of the most important factors before writing because it will be determine the direction and the type to be written. For the third is collecting and analysis data. Collecting and analysis data must also be considered before writing. The exact data must be complete and detailed. Data can collected from surveys, book references, and discussion. And for the fourth is arrange the outline. The realized by the sentence is completing the outline of the essay, organizing ideas and data that have been collected. And for the last is arrange paragraph. After everything is fulfilled, compile the paragraph, make a good paragraph rules in the form of the main sentences and several explanatory sentences.
Okay guys, it's all our explanation of the material about problem of nonfiction and the characteristic of nonfiction. I hope you guys can get the values from the explanation. I'm so sorry if there are so much wrong from us. To Allah, please give us apologize. And for the last, I say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.